falling platforms, or disappearing platforms, breaking platforms, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to be covering them in this video, and I have covered breaking platforms in the past, but I want to make a new video that explains how to do 3 different methods. And another thing is that in my last video about this, I said that you needed to use env entity maker, which isn't true actually. You can just use point template. At the time, that's just how I knew how to do it. I didn't realize you could just use point template by itself. So I've just got a basic setup here. Got my light environment, place team spawn, trigger hurt down there, and imagine this is your Deathrun. And yeah, I'm making this mainly to help people with their Deathrun maps, but you can use this on any map. It's the same method, it doesn't matter. So if you're just here to find out how falling platforms work, but you're not making a Deathrun map, it doesn't matter. You can stay and watch this and you'll find it very helpful. So yeah, if you are making a Deathrun map, so imagine this is your side of the Deathrun, and this is the other side. So you want to make platforms that just fall. It's just an interesting like automatic obstacle that makes your map a bit more interesting. Blah 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 blah. Let's get into making some platforms. So I am going to make them this size, and I'm gonna let's see. Actually, I want to make them 64. But you can make them whatever size you want, by the way. You don't have to do it the size I'm doing it. You know, the method's the same. But I'm just going to do them like this for this video. So, I'm going to... Actually, yeah, let me make that a breakable first. That'd be easier. On strength... Now, you can either make strength 0 or you can set only break on trigger. I normally do only break on trigger, but setting strength to 0 will also work. So let's call this left platform let's just call it left platform 1. We'll copy these, hold shift, that's a tip. I've talked about that before, but I'm reminding you here. Hold shift and drag, that makes your life a lot easier. So let's rename these. Left platform 2, left platform 3. Also another tip, press Z to turn your camera like this so you can move around. I actually didn't know about that when I first used Hammer, so I was like using the arrow keys, and that took ages. This also makes your life so much easier. So, left platform 1, left platform 2, left platform 3. Now we're going to need some point templates. Point template. Now, I like to center them in the platforms for neatness, but it actually doesn't matter. You could have it over here, or you could have it up here, and it would still work. And I'll leave it there just to prove that it does. So, left platform 1, let's call this left platform 1 template. And you want to put that in there. And on flags, you're going to want to check don't remove template entities, because otherwise it will disappear at the start of the round, and there will be no platforms for anyone to jump on. So that makes sure that it's there at the start, and it doesn't disappear. and from then on we'll keep respawning new ones. Shift drag, but remember to renumber these. Now, let's get the trigger texture, and we will put a trigger about we'll do 16 units high. Trigger multiple. Now, I'm going to set that to 3 because otherwise there are instances where someone could jump and then it like causes a second one to spawn. So just set this to how long you're gonna set set the output for the next one to respawn. On start touch, left platform break. We'll do one. I'll do 1 second. You can make it anything. You can tinker around with it, whether you want it to be harder or easier. I usually do like 1 second, and then after 3 seconds it respawns. So go on the template entity, and you're going to do force spawn. That's going to force spawn a new one. And you're going to want to make that 3 seconds, otherwise it will instantly spawn as it breaks, which defeats the purpose of having the breaking platforms. So let's go ahead and copy that, and you're gonna have to change the numbers on these. And that will work. So I'm actually going to go in game and test it. So let me just compile this. It doesn't really matter. Simple map. Alright. Right, here I am in game.
Cotton balloons!
And see that? That works nicely. Right, let's go back into Hammer. I'll move on to the next one. Alright, next method. This involves using a brush, a funk brush, and often combined with playing a meme sound. So let's just be simple, and we will use D's nuts. Got him. So I know it doesn't look very good there, but I don't really care because this is just a tutorial video. You can fiddle around with that yourself and make it bigger or whatever. So let's say funk brush. So this is going to be middle platform 1. Now you'll see how this works. Middle platform 2, middle platform 3. Now, we don't need a point template when we're using funk brush, because the brush never deletes itself, well, unless we kill it. The brush just gets disabled and then re-enabled. That smaller. So I could just copy that, but anyway, let's do this. Same procedure. This time on the outputs we're going to do on start touch, middle platform 1, disable, and we'll say 1 second. And then we're going to do middle platform 1 enable. Say 3 seconds again. And do that again for the next one. Now this will work, but it will be silent. So let's add a sound for each one. So ambient generic, and just put it, I would put it close to where the platform is. And on this, we'll call this middle platform 1 sound. And let's say D's nuts.
These nuts.
And we'll copy that. Call this platform 2 sound. Copy that. Call that platform 3 sound. And what you're going to want to do there to make the sound play is add another output targeting the sound, the ambient generic entity that you've just created for each one, and do play sound. And I'm going to go ahead and copy that, just paste it, and then change the numbers. So every time I jump on one, it will disable, and then as it disappears, it will play the sound. So let me compile this, and we shall take a look. So let's try that out.
Come on! These nuts. These nuts.
And that's working.
These nuts. These nuts. These nuts.
Let's go back into Hammer, and we'll move on to the third one. So this time we're going to be making true falling platforms. I don't actually see that many people use these ones, and I wonder if it's because they don't really know how to set it up properly. So let's begin. Now we're going to make this a funk fizz box, and it's very important that you go on the flags and you check motion disabled. You may have to check some others depending on what game you're on. If you're on Gary's mod or something, you might have to do ignore use or whatever. And I'm going to set this to rocks, and I'm going to keep that strength 0, because we're going to do something with that later on. So we'll call this right falling, well, just call it platform, right platform 1. See, because this is a physics object, when motion gets enabled, it's going to automatically drop because of the physics engine. You'll see how that works. So call that platform 2, platform 3. Now, you will need to create point templates for these ones. I'm going to put these ones in the center. So, right platform 1 template. Right platform 1. Same thing applies here. Make sure you check don't remove template entities, otherwise when you're playing there won't be one to jump on at first. If you jump through, hit the trigger, the next one would still spawn, but then it becomes a sacrifice trap. So next one, platform 2. platform 3. So, trigger. Sorry about the keyboard, but, you know, I like a chunky keyboard. Same thing applies here. I'm going to do 3 seconds. Again, you can set it to whatever you like. When it comes to the falling platforms, you might want to make it a bit. You might want to make the delay a bit shorter because there's still a bit of a delay when it gets enabled from it sort of dropping down. You'll see what I mean. So on the start touch, right, platform 1, and we're going to do enable motion. I'm going to do 1 second, and then template for spawn after 3 seconds, and we'll do this. Shift drag again. Change numbers. And that will work. And these will drop. However, there's going to be a problem. You see, the platforms will drop down and they'll just stack up, or they'll pile up down there and they won't remove themselves from the world. So I tell you what, I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to compile this now, and I'll show you in game. See, these fall down, but they're not disappearing. So we need to fix that. Otherwise, if people keep doing that, it could cause a bit of a memory leak or whatever, because there's going to be edicts. But to make sure the platforms disappear when they fall down, what I would do is set this physics objects flag to on. Now, if these had a strength value, like say it had 9001, then when it falls, this trigger hurt would damage it and break it automatically. However, giving it a strength value means players could potentially shoot them and destroy them when other players are jumping on them, you know, prematurely. So I would rather keep strength on 0, and on the trigger hurt, I would put an output on start touch, and I would do activator break. So when anything touches this, if it's a physics object or a player, it will send that output to them. Now, it doesn't matter if it sends it to a player, because a player has no break input, but a physics object like a Func Fizzbox does. So that will work. So let's compile this and show that it's working. Alright, let's check this out. And as you can see, when they fall down, they now break. So, I hope you found this tutorial useful, and thanks for watching.